This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Chapter 2 of Negotiation Skills. Get what you deserve. Preparation. 80% of success happens before. In this chapter, you'll learn: develop a comprehensive negotiation plan. Let's dive in. Chris Voss says your first 7 seconds can decide your entire negotiation. Now here's the twist. Most people spend more time choosing a meeting outfit than preparing those seconds. So you walk in confident, or you walk in blind. The outcome usually traces back to what happened before. Most negotiators obsess over what to say in the room and almost ignore everything that happens before it. Yet study after study points to the same quiet truth. By the time you sit down, much of the outcome is already baked in. Not because the other side is stronger, but because they're often more structured in how they prepare. This doesn't mean building a 40-page deck or turning into a robot. It means deliberately shaping 3 things: what you want, what you'll walk away for, and how you'll move if the conversation swerves. Think of a traveler who's checked routes, weather, and backup plans, not to script every mile, but to stay calm when a road closes. In this episode, we'll turn preparation from a vague, "Yeah, I should do that," into a concrete system you can run in under an hour. No spreadsheets, no overthinking, just leverage. Preparation doesn't just steady your nerves, it quietly changes the math of the deal. When researchers dissect high-value negotiations, a pattern shows up. The best outcomes come from people who did their thinking before anyone sat down. They've gathered real numbers, mapped what matters on both sides, and rehearsed how they'll respond when things zig instead of zag. That prep work becomes a kind of compound interest, small steps taken early that massively amplify what you can claim later. In this episode, we'll zoom into that invisible 80%, what to research, what to script, and what to deliberately leave flexible. Here's the counterintuitive shift. Smart negotiators don't just get ready, they design the game they're about to play. Start with information, not instincts. Before you think about what you'll say, zoom out. What's the economic reality around this conversation? If it's a salary review, that's market bands, pay ranges, recent hires, and internal promotion patterns. If it's a vendor deal, that's competitor pricing, switching costs, contract norms, and the value of delay. You're not hunting for one magic data point. You're drawing a rough map of what's normal, what's generous, and what's unrealistic. Next, translate that map into numbers. The research isn't just nice context. It feeds 3 specific figures: your ambitious but defensible target, your "this would still be worth it" zone, and the point where alternatives clearly beat staying in this deal. Notice these are anchored in facts, not vibes. Specificity is where that 20% performance bump from numeric targets comes from. You're no longer reacting to their offer, you're comparing it to a frame you built earlier. Then, flip the lens. Ask, if I were them, what pressures and priorities would I bring into this room? A manager may care more about internal fairness and budget timing than about your exact number. A client might trade speed or lower risk for slightly higher price. You're not guessing feelings. You're reasoning from incentives, constraints, and recent behavior. Even rough estimates help you spot trades. If they're tight on cash this quarter, could I move some value into next year? If headcount is frozen, could I negotiate title, budget, or scope instead of only base pay? Finally, turn all this into moves, not a monologue. List 2 or 3 likely paths the conversation could take: fast agreement, lowball pushback, stalling, and sketch how you'll respond in each. Think in if-then branches. If they open below my minimum, then I'll. If they say budget is fixed, then I'll. If they ask for immediate commitment, then I'll. You're not locking yourself into a script. You're pre-deciding under calm conditions how your future, under-pressure self will protect your interests. That's where preparation quietly shifts from homework to leverage. Think of two colleagues heading into the same budget meeting. One spends 10 minutes skimming old emails, shrugs, and plans to see how it goes. The other quietly runs a micro drill, opens a blank doc, writes 3 numbers they'd be happy with, 3 non-money variables they could trade, timeline, scope, visibility, and 3 likely objections they'll hear. Then they say their first sentence out loud twice, adjusting any part that feels hesitant or vague. Nothing dramatic happens in the room, no movie-style speech, yet the second person asks sharper questions, recovers faster from pushback, and spots chances to package requests instead of haggling line by line. A practical way to picture it is like rebalancing an investment portfolio. You're not predicting every market move, you're deciding in advance how you'll shift when conditions change, so you're never selling in a panic or overreacting to one bad day. The goal isn't perfection, it's reducing the number of "I wish I'd thought of that earlier" moments you have on the way back to your desk. Soon, you may prep with tools that quietly do the heavy lifting. AI dashboards simulating best and worst-case deal paths like weather models, or VR rooms where you can stress test your strategy against lifelike counterparts before real stakes are on the table. As negotiations stretch across companies, regulators, and communities, you'll need to map shifting alliances the way travelers study connecting flights, spotting routes, delays, and backup options only visible if you've studied the whole network. Your challenge this week? Before any conversation where you might ask for something, a deadline shift, more resources, a scope change, pause for 3 minutes. Jot down one concrete success you've had recently and one specific ask tied to it. Treat even small requests like test flights for bigger negotiations later. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow.